Welcome back to the Contrarians. This is one of our feedback episodes. We used to do these a lot in the past, but we haven't done them lately. So we've kind of split them up. We're each going to look at one or two of these and give some feedback. I wanted to give some feedback on our excuse me episode on the Clash. I had picked "Give 'Em Enough Rope" as my favorite Clash album. So here's what some of the comments said, and I like some of these because there's a couple of different views on the production. So the first one, Avery Teplitsky says, "Great pick. Love the more Americanized production values espoused by the legendary Sandy Pearlman on this one." So Avery, kind of cool. I mean, everybody always talks about the production on this. It is definitely fuller. There's a lot more going on. There's more guitars. I don't know if I'd consider it Americanized. I still think it's pretty dirty and combative. It isn't exactly super commercial. But yeah, everybody talks about the production on this, and like you, I agree with you. I like the production on this. I don't think it's particularly American. A lot of people don't like the production on this. So Jukebox Cowboy says, yes, Rope. Why those big guitars? Exactly. This is why I liked it a lot. I mean, it is essentially the heaviest Clash album, the closest to heavy metal, but it's not a heavy metal album. It's just, but there are big guitars on it. It is a little more gnarly and filled in, and a little more complete and actualized songs than the debut. So I agree with you there. Give 'Em Enough Rope has been my favorite Clash album as well, says Indolence INCK. Davey Cretan says, thanks for another excellent episode, men. Great to have you back. While I respect each of your opinions, the debut album gets my vote. And that's true. A lot of people do vote for the debut album. I was just reading something the other day that said it was one of the greatest albums ever made. I kind of agree on it. But yeah, that album, it's hard to wrap my head around because there's versions with a lot of different songs, between the UK and Canada and all that. Although the production isn't the best, I just love the songs and the volatility that bleeds through the record. Beautiful point. I worked in record stores in New York for over 3 decades, and my coworkers and I would argue all the time over this. So kind of cool. Mastio Flux says, love this show. Best thing on YouTube. Well, thank you very much for that. And John Kedward says, remember sitting around a beaten up stereo with a couple of friends when it came out, and just that opening of Tommy Gun, ! Electrifying. There seems to be a massive time gap between the first album and the long delayed arrival of Rope. I don't quite remember that, but I think in Canada it went 77, 78. We were 16 years old or so. It had a lot more solid bass than the debut. I agree with that. The drumming had certainly improved. I listened to it today, and Topper Headon was really a fabulous drummer. It was also interesting to hear something of a Mott the Hoople influence on a couple of tracks. That's a pretty cool point. I've never really thought about that. I never realized this before. As for the debut, I think the first was less compromising and more garage than the songwriting was slightly better, though the production was a bit scratchy. As for the third, I'm still not a big fan of London Calling. I love it. It's obviously not heavy at all. It's interesting that it is eclectic, but there are too many for me weak substandard tracks, as you mentioned. All in all, music is often about memories and a place, and Rope just encapsulates late 78. Just left school, going to a lot of gigs, a great time of discovery and liberty. Very cool, John Kedward. Love that comment. And then Daniel Visaki says, no. So he's disagreeing with me. Great songs. Topper's absolutely in the pocket on his debut with the band. Jones, fantastic arrangements, yet in caps. It just doesn't hold up against the others due to the production. So we had one guy loving the production. Daniel is not liking the production as much. Of course, Sandinista and Combat Rock have glossy production as well, but it fits the songs. Combat Rock just is annoying to me. I'm not even crazy about the production on it. Sandinista's got great production. The best is probably London Calling, I imagine. The glossy production here just doesn't lend itself to the songs and performances. I don't hear anything glossy about the production on Give 'Em Enough Rope. Still a fantastic album, but it's always my last place. Wow. If they had used the same production techniques that were on the Cost of Living EP, then this album would be near perfect. I don't mind the Clash sounding like Nile Rodgers Chic when it applies. This certainly, to me, does not sound like Nile Rodgers Chic. But the Clash should never sound like Boston. Some Sheen works, some Sheen doesn't work. Very cool. Okay, so there you go. So there's a little feedback for you. I'm going to probably do another one of these, and the other guys are as well. We just this morning knocked off a big long Yes episode where I argued for Going for the One is my favorite Yes album. But there you go. Talk to you again next time. Please keep commenting. We love reading the comments on these episodes. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, we'd like to see the comments keep it on going up just the way the subscribers and the views are going up. So thanks again.